Hey guys, we're back with the second of this short look at Bunnie Rabbot's love life, and the second, of course, obviously, I think a lot of us expected it, is Sonic the Hedgehog, and the reason Sonic is basically on this list, if you will, is mainly due to the fact that when Bunnie first debuted in the comics, after she was partially roboticized and rescued by Sonic and Rhoda and brought back to Knothole, where she just bounced, just literally literally just jumped right out of Rhoda's arms like nothing really affected her, and she's embracing her new look, her new parts and everything. And it's during this demonstration of what her new cybernetics can do that she sees Sonic, acknowledges that he's cute and everything, asks what his name is, and kind of boops him on the nose with her regular finger. Before Sonic, kind of tells her, "Yeah, I'm Sonic, and oh, by the way, you might want to put the princess down there that you're holding up with your, cybernetic arm." So that was the first indication that basically there was something probably, flirtatious-wise between the two characters of Sonic and Bunnie, if you will. And this would go on for a while, up until at least the mid portion, like I said, up to when Bunnie confessed her love for Antoine, and they became an item from there around issue 46. Now, after that, and of course, like I said in the previous part, that would continue straight on up until about 131, when it was temporarily broke off, put on hold, all because of the fact that what we would find out almost 2 years later, 24 issues later, was due to the fact that the Antoine that had changed, in attitude and all that, became dark and gritty, was not the real Antoine. It was, in fact, a fake. It was evil Antoine, who also became known as Patch. Now, basically, long story short on that, as I mentioned, Sonic brought, the real Antoine back and everything. But it was during this time where Bunnie was flirting with Sonic, if you will, flirting with the idea of going with Sonic, because Sonic at the same time had broken off with Sally in Story, and he was going, back and forth with Fiona, not totally committed yet, not fully, committed to her just yet or anything like that, although it was getting there. And Bunnie decided to take this up as an opportunity. Now, I know there was a lot of fans, even now, that look back at this and probably think, well, they wanted to go the dramatic route with these romances that they would put in the comic, that basically, they could have done it with Bunnie and Sonic. They could have said, well, these two don't have anybody now. Their potential love interest are, on doing their own thing, on their own paths right now. Maybe we could put these two together and see what happens. And they tested that for a bit. Like I said, they tested that for a bit with Sonic and Bunnie. But here's how they tested it, and it was kind of weird. You see, around 150, there was a moment, there was a panel, a scene in there where Tails had caught Bunnie making out with Sonic, or what he thought and what Bunnie thought at that time was the real Sonic, right? So what happens is that, Tails gets upset because, again, he's catching his best friend making out with somebody that, he knows is supposedly with somebody else, or was with somebody else, and he's supposed to be more committed to either the person he's with, which was either Fiona, which, I guess in Story he was getting ready to accept, or even Sally, right? Well, unbeknownst to Tails, or even Bunnie, who was making out with who she thought was Sonic at the time, basically, we find out that it's not really Sonic she was making out with in 150. It was actually evil Sonic. Yeah, it was basically, hold on there, I just had to put that down for a second. It was basically who it was basically what would be known as Scourge, or who would be known as Scourge later on. That's about what it was. She was making out with evil Sonic instead of the real Sonic, who, of course, like I said, evil Sonic would go on to be Scourge later on. And the reason this happened was because just like evil Sonic had done with Patch, Antoine's evil counterpart in Moebius, where he basically knocked out Patch, put him into the Mobius world, and took Antoine in his place, so there wouldn't be no suspicions, if you will. There wouldn't be no suspicions. Basically, long story short, evil Sonic did the same thing to his counterpart, because what the evil Sonic wanted was just to, live up the reputation his, counterpart wouldn't. And that's, hey, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. I can get whatever I want. I can get all the chili dogs I want. I can get all the girls I want. And, that's all he wanted. That's all he wanted in his world. So he decided, hey, best place to get it is, my goody good counterpart's world. And that's why, we got that scene with Bunnie making out with Sonic, or what we thought was Sonic at the time, and then also waking up from a nap with him, if you will. Basically sleeping with him. Not the sleeping, if you know what I mean, kind of deal, but just resting. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Bunnie would also kiss the real Sonic. That's right. You see, even though later on, as we find out in story, she and, all the other girls there would find out that the Sonic that was with them or flirting with them was a fake, was the evil version, the one that would go on to be known as Scourge later on. Basically what happened several issues later is we get introduced more so to this Atom character that's made up, this Atom nanobot character created by Eggman, who Eggman looks at as a son, or considers as a son, like he considered a female bot named, a female gyroid, a cyborg, if you will, overlander appearance called Mecha. Basically, Atom starts to assimilate a lot of the living organisms, if you will, around the forest. And Bunnie ends up getting trapped in this, and he starts to try to absorb her. And it takes Sonic, some convincing to Atom, like, hey, if you absorb her, you're also going to be absorbing what's already robotic or partially robotic. That doesn't work. And this is enough for Atom to rethink it and realize Sonic's right. So he basically unabsorbs Bunnie, and Bunnie is restored to normal. And to thank Sonic, she ends up kissing him on the lips and just telling him, just realize that you're my hero. And she kisses him on the lips. Now, according to some behind-the-scenes notes, basically Sonic was supposed to have a shocked expression on his face. Like his eyes were supposed to be open, not closed. But I guess whoever drew it didn't get the memo, or whoever drew it decided, why not go potentially with a Bunnie-Sonic relationship, even if it's temporary, because, Sonic and Sally are not a thing right now, and neither is Antoine and Bunnie. Maybe they just, maybe they got the memo and they decided not to follow it. And they just decided to go this route because in story, logically, it made more sense. But that would really be about it with the whole Bunnie and Sonic relationship, if you will. I mean, yeah, there were some moments that, even before this, that you could look at and be like, well, that's kind of odd that they would do this, right? Like, for example, you look at the high school thing that they did from, I think it was 89 to about the mid-90-ish issues. And Bunnie and Sonic are among the main characters that are sent back to high school. And by being sent back to high school, of course, they have, being teenagers and everything, trying to play up, being in a new beginning or having a new beginning on life, they have to have a new look. So Bunnie adopts in design a Daisy Duke inspired look. The hair, the outfit, it's very Daisy Duke inspired. And what's interesting is that later on, Sonic still being Sonic and wanting to fight the good fight, wants to sneak out of a new out of the new knothole. He wants to sneak out of there. Now, again, this new knothole is before a new Mobotropolis. So he wants to sneak out there. He wants to sneak out of there and go to Robotropolis to see what's going on. And Bunnie catches him, but instead of, scolding him like, are you trying to get yourself in trouble kind of deal, she wants to help him. Now, maybe it's me, but did anyone else kind of get the feeling that even though she was still with Antoine at this time, in story, that it felt like, they were trying to give us a Sonic and Bunnie relationship because they were both in high school. Sally wasn't there with them because she was being self-taught at the castle, and Antoine wasn't there because he's a royal guard. Did anybody else get that feeling? Anybody else get that, inkling that that's what they were trying to do that? Because when I really think about it now, it seemed like they were trying to go in that direction. Maybe it's just me. But, what do you guys think? Do you guys get that feeling? I'm just saying. But anyway, besides, those moments, even in the high school one, where it looked like they wanted to do something like that when you really think about it, it was just, the whole thing with Sonic was brief. It was brief, like from when she started up to the 46th issue of the books, and then temporarily during that kind of temporary halt on the relationship with Antoine because the story called for it unnecessarily, in my opinion. Besides all those things that I've mentioned here, it was very brief. It was very, very brief. And, my opinion is this. Because fans today, there is a picture that's basically been modified. It's the image of Sonic and Sally embracing each other after Sonic comes back. He walks up to Sally, he sees where she's at, and they kiss and embrace. And she has tears coming down her eyes. Well, somebody modified that picture, and instead of, Sally kissing Sonic, it's Bunnie. So obviously, there's a lot of fans that support a Bunnie and Sonic relationship. Now, their excuse for doing this is basically, the excuse for doing this is, basically, it's the same storyline, but an alternate world. Like, basically, different roles have changed. Different roles for certain characters and players have changed. Like, it's the same storyline, the same moments, but it's different characters. Like, instead of Sally kissing Sonic with tears coming down her eyes, when he shows up, to her in that issue, it's Bunnie. So, yeah, that tells me that there's a lot of Sonic and Bunnie fans, supporters, shippers out there than I think we can imagine. So they're still there, but I think they also realize that even though it was brief officially in the comics, it's still something that, could have had some legs had they decided to do a little bit more with it. But yeah, the whole thing with Sonic, like I said, was brief. It had its moments, even as short as they were. And that's really about it. So the next one we're going to talk about here, just like with Sally, it's really interesting, but I think you guys will like it.